Hello, good people, and welcome to Hillbilly Cat History, where today we're going to go to Kang Rhee's dojo in the autumn of 1974. Hello, Gunn. Hello, Linda. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate seeing you here. For the last several days, or episodes, we've been learning about Kang Rhee, master of karate, and his interactions with Elvis. And we've heard from another student in the class, also a skilled black belt, Wayne Carman. He was there. He was a witness to the events. And we're going to hear more from Wayne, and we're going to also hear from Master Rhee today. But we're going to get started with my brand new song about Elvis's martial arts journey called Crucible of a Warrior.
Feel a flame, hammer in hand, carved out his name. 16 and airborne boots in the dirt, jumping through walls, unbaptized and hurt. Karate in Japan, fists like steel, champion of honor, deadly and real. Sensei, warriors, no room for doubt. You wear the G or you train and come back. Your eyes a crucible, baby, not a showbiz belt. You bleed, you break, you feel a warrior's spell. Elvis hit the mat, but he rolls with a roll. Steer in his soul, ready for war. It's burning, burning, burning through the pain. Crucible of a warrior, forging Hank's domain. 30 throws, not dances, a fight. Bones to set, boards shattered on sight. Shudo elbow, fingertip flame. Every strike a prayer, every cater name. 6 weeks of fire, no cameras, no fame. Just sweat and bruises, no more play tape. The saw came in, fist like a stone. Said put him down, break ribs if it's known. It's a crucible, baby, not a velvet crown. You fall, you crawl, but you don't stay down. Elvis hit the mat, but he rose with the raw. Steer his soul, ready for war. It's burning, burning, burning through the pain. Crucible of a warrior, forged in Hank's domain. All eyes watched the king that day. Would he crumble or would he stay? But Hank saw it, war in his eyes. Not a quitter, but a fighter who rise. From Hollywood lights to dojo dust, Elvis earned it not on fame but trust. No stunt, no script, just grit and bruise. Black belt truth, not a headline rule. It's a crucible, baby, not a stage or set. You earn every inch, every beat of sweat. Elvis hit the mat, but he rolls with a roar. Steer in his soul, ready for war. It's burning, burning, burning through the pain. Crucible of a warrior. They burned through the fire, broke through the fear. And the dojo of legends and kings stood clear. Crucible of a warrior, Elvis was here.
Thank you all for gathering here at Hillbilly Cat History, where we remember together and listen for the echoes. And today, we're going to hear from Kang Rhee and Wayne Carman. And we can see Master Rhee's smiling face on screen now as he stands next to Elvis, and Elvis wears the special show uniform that he and Kang Rhee had designed together, as well as the badge, the big circle emblem that he wears on his chest, which incorporates his TCB logo as well as lessons of karate and symbols of power. And we've seen this picture before, same day, as Elvis prepares or perhaps has just ended his demonstration. And thank you, Linda and Gunn, for your praise of the song. I definitely appreciate it. I feel like it caught some of the martial spirit of Elvis's karate journey, at least at the beginning, when he was being trained by Hammerin' Hank Slomansky. And he truly earned that first belt. Now, I believe he truly earned all the belts, and we're going to hear more about that from Master Rhee. In yesterday's episode, we went through this picture and we named each person in the picture. So if you missed that, be sure to go back, check out that last episode, so you can learn all about the people in this picture. At least what little bit I know about them. But right in the center, you can see Elvis sitting next to Master Rhee. And behind Elvis, there is a very large gentleman. And to the left of him is a man wearing square lensed glasses. That is Wayne Carman. So that you got a good idea who we're talking about today. The other really important figure here, they're all important, but the one that most people would recognize if they know anything about karate, he's standing right behind Master Rhee. He's on the other side of the very tall gentleman. His hair's kind of wild and he has an intense look on his face, and that is Bill Superfoot Wallace, who was in a whole bunch of karate movies. Starred in many of them with Chuck Norris. And Chuck also brought him in for the final episode of Texas Walker Ranger, which was Chuck's television show, like in the I think it was the 1980s or into the 1990s. Chuck Norris, of course, being one of the most famous martial artists in the movies. And we've seen this picture before, but we learned yesterday that this particular position that Elvis is demonstrating is called the riding horse stance. So this is Elvis and the riding horse. And we see Kang Rhee demonstrating some of the first tenets of a black belt, which is care and compassion. You got to be able to fix what's broken. And in this case, Elvis has an ingrown toenail. Also has a wound on his hand that you can see that's infected. So Master Rhee is requiring that Elvis wear socks, where he normally would say you're not allowed to wear socks in the dojo. And be sure to pay attention to just behind Elvis, you can see Red West wearing an incredibly 70s outfit. He's going to be a part of this story in a larger degree as we move forward. And Linda Curtis says that she liked Chuck's show. It was a good, wholesome family show. Chuck Norris, he was a good person. I think he's still alive today, so he's a good person. And Gunn agrees she likes Chuck Norris too. And this is maybe my favorite picture of Master Rhee with Elvis. I think this was when Elvis first met Master Rhee, which I think was 1970, as Master Rhee was going around the country, I think, as a referee in martial artist contests, and Elvis was at one of them. It's kind of the story we've gleaned so far. And you could see that in Elvis's face and in Kang Rhee's, they don't look like friends taking a picture necessarily. They look like people who maybe have just met. They're still sizing each other up in this picture is what I pull from it. But Elvis has on this incredible outfit. But that's just my feeling about this picture. Don't really know when it was taken. At least not yet. But now that we've heard the stories of what Master Rhee has said, what Wayne has said through the last few episodes, I just feel like this is more of a beginning of the relationship picture. And Linda says that she also loves this picture of Elvis and Master Rhee, and that Elvis looks great. And his sense of style is just so profound in the picture. And Gunn says that her favorite of Master Rhee is with his smiling face, and that it's not in this picture. And that's true, and that's what I'm seeing. There's not happiness in this picture. There's almost a feeling of, why are we even taking this picture? It's as if someone else has said, hey, we should document this moment. You guys are together, and who knows if this will ever happen again. But, so that's why I feel like this was an introductory picture. And Linda says they do look serious. And Gunn says that Elvis does look super in this picture. And like, this would be a great picture, I think, if they had done a buddy movie together. Like later, it becomes very popular to do martial artist buddy movies, like in the Jackie Chan variety. And this looks like this could have been a great poster for that. You know, Elvis and Kang take on the bad guys. And I would have gone to see that movie. And we talked about this picture yesterday, where we've actually identified the man that's sitting between Elvis and Dave Hebler. It's Dave Hebler at the far end with the very serious, perhaps angry, perhaps irritated, perhaps just resting face. I don't know. But of all the people in the picture, Dave looks not happy. Now, the man next to him, who is Gary Ramsey, he looks a little stunned, a little out of it, a little shocked, as if, I can't believe I'm sitting next to Elvis Presley and people are taking my picture. But I can just be reading that in. And of course, when pictures are taken, they're snapped in an instant, and they capture an instant of time. And who knows what your face might be doing in that instant of time, or what it might look like as it moves from one spot to another. But Elvis and Master Rhee, very, very happy in this picture. And Gunn says that in the previous picture, it looks like no one said cheese. That's very true, Gunn. And that they both have their tough guy look, is what Linda says. Yeah, they did. They had a tough guy look. That might be what Dave's showing in this picture. That might be his tough guy look. Okay, we saw this picture yesterday, and we looked at the autograph on it, and I just pointed out some things about it's written in cursive in some spots, and it's written in uppercase it's printed uppercase letters in other spots, block letters. And this does exemplify the two kinds of writing that I often see when I see Elvis written documents. And the block letters are almost always in notes which tell people like Charlie Hodges what they need to do, specifically in terms of the show. Like, I need to get these songs, or make sure the band knows to play this. We're going to add this new song to the lineup. He also uses this to write notes in books, and also notes where he's passing on knowledge from himself to another. Like, he wrote a series of notes to Sheila Ryan, and they're all in the same blocky printed capital letters. But when he writes to Jürgen Seidel, his first teacher of karate, he writes in cursive. And when he writes Master Kang Rhee here on the page, on the picture, he writes in cursive. We'll see another letter that Elvis writes about karate that's also in cursive. So I think that when he's writing in cursive, he's submitting himself to a higher authority. When he writes with the block letters, he is the authority. But when he's writing with the cursive, he's submitting himself to the authority of another, or the, in terms of karate, the mastery of another. There is a master, and he is the student. The other thing to note here is that he calls himself Mr. Tiger on this autograph. So he gave this autographed picture to Master Rhee after he gave him this guitar. So Elvis showed up with 5 limos and 16 people the first time that he came to Master Rhee's studio. Now, they had met before, but not at Master Rhee's studio. It was, Master Rhee was at some karate event, and so was Elvis. But now Elvis has come to the studio, which is just blocks away from Graceland. I mean, it's like less than 5 minutes. So he drives over to Graceland, or over to the dojo, with 5, according to Master Rhee, 5 limousines. 16 people get out, plus Elvis. And they watch the students put on a demonstration for them that Master Rhee organizes on the spot. Very impressed and happy to have Elvis there. I think they must have discussed, because Master Rhee also talks about sitting across a desk from Elvis. So there's an office within the dojo, and they must have gone into the office and sat at the desk and had a discussion about karate, and Elvis's desire to learn, be instructed by Master Rhee. And Master Rhee gives everybody an animal name. All students have an animal name, and that's a way that they focus their psychological energies into their karate performances, into the practice, and into the daily rituals of the karate. And he and Elvis chose for Elvis Panther. And in this close-up of the guitar, we can see that Elvis has written to Master Kang Rhee with gratitude from Panther, Elvis Presley. So 2 days later, Elvis came back and he gave this guitar to Kang Rhee. And at that time, he was still using the name Panther. It's only been 2 days. But then at some point in the near future after this, Elvis determines that Panther could be linked by other people to the group the Black Panthers, which is a political activist group at the time who was promoting political violence. Elvis did not want to be wrapped up in any of that. So he talked to Master Rhee, and they determined together to change his name to Mr. Tiger. Elvis had chosen Tiger, and he came with that choice to Master Rhee. And they determined, yes, it would be best for Elvis, because Elvis has concerns that stretch far beyond the boundaries of the dojo, and Master Rhee is a very intelligent individual, and he takes all of that into consideration. And Joe Esposito provided this certificate of authenticity for the guitar and indicated his relationship to Elvis Presley. He'd known him for a long time. He was co-best man at his wedding. And that this guitar is an Ovation Deluxe acoustic stage guitar, the serial number 1798. And it was used by Elvis in the early 70s during concerts and at home. Elvis wanted to have an exchange of gifts with Master Kang Rhee and presented him with this guitar at his Memphis dojo on Poplar Drive, or Avenue. And during the meeting, Elvis told Master Rhee that music and karate were the two most important things to him, besides his family. So Elvis said that his three most important priorities were family, music, karate. What I find interesting about this is that Elvis, when he first met the Colonel asked him what his dreams were. And Elvis said that his dreams were not just to do this music, but to be an actor. He wanted to be in the movies. Overall, he wanted to be an entertainer. But he had a specific dream of being a great actor or in the movies. And we see here that when he lists out the most important things in his life, at a time when he had already been the greatest movie superstar in the world. But this is the 70s, and that was the 60s, but he lived that dream. The music is still on the list, but the movies aren't there. It's family, music, karate. It doesn't list movies. Family, music, karate. Joe also believes that this particular guitar is the only known guitar that Elvis actually signed the face of. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a very interesting statement. And I cannot think of another guitar off the top of my head that I've ever seen that Elvis signed, so very possibly correct. And Joe also confirms here that Elvis had changed his name to Tiger so that there would be no association with the Black Panthers of the 1970s. And Gunn says that in a previous picture, let me run back to this previous picture. That the two guys to the left, who I believe are Kang Rhee and Elvis, look very happy being there, but the two guys to the right seem like they want to be somewhere else. They do very much look like they want to be somewhere else. That's a good observation. Yeah, and he doesn't list friends or fans, Gunn's pointing out, as the top thing. So maybe they make it into 4 and 5. but they're below karate. At least when he's talking to Master Rhee. Now, I think that a lot of us probably do this when we try to list out the most important things in our lives. We whip off 2 or 3, but then if we think about it, maybe that's not the 2 or 3. But it is interesting that those are the first 3 that we name for whatever reason, right? So, but this is what Joe says Elvis told Master Rhee. Music, karate, family first. And I think this is a pretty good picture of Elvis here in his uniform. I think this is that same day. In this picture, he's got his glasses on, his trademark TCB glasses. I don't know that these actually say TCB on the side. I think they do. But they do have the larger gold frames that we kind of associate with Elvis glasses. Also, a picture from the same day, I believe. Elvis looks very happy here. It's not a great shot because you only get a 3/4 face. But his look of pleasure and happiness is so extreme that I just think it's a really great picture. You can again see the wound on his hand. We know he's got the ingrown toenail that had surgery a couple days before. You know, and this is September of 1974. So at this point in time, his insides are probably not doing well. His colon is surely stretched beyond what a normal person's colon would be at this point. Medical science today believes that Elvis's megacolon was so large that it would have started around 10 to 12 years previously, which would have been around 1965 or 1967. So this is well into the progression of Elvis's internal issues. His heart is most likely enlarged at this point, not as large as it's gonna be. His liver is probably experiencing issues. So his body is in some regards failing or beginning to fail as we even look at him in this moment. And some of that's seen outwardly through like the infection on his hand. Now anybody could get infected, you know, especially if you don't take care of a wound. But if you're already in a compromised position, it's easier to get infected. And he's got the ingrown toenail. He has different, you know, we all have problems with our bodies. But this just very much humanizes Elvis. And he's participating in this karate as a way to be healthy, to connect to health. Because we all believe that exercise and good diet and plenty of rest, which are all things that are important to karate, as well as the inner calm and the ability to meditate, hopefully these would all bring health and wellness to us. And that's part of what Elvis is seeking here. And we see it reflected over and over every time we see this wound in his hand. And Gunn is asking, has he got the 7th grade in this picture? Well, we're going to see that. We're coming right up on it, Gunn. Good question. And Linda says that his hand looks badly infected. Yeah, I think it does. He tells Master Rhee that it looks worse than it is. But it looks pretty bad. And so, and Gunn says that Master Rhee ripped off the bandage off his hand And I remember you telling me you had seen that in some footage you had watched, some video footage. So Master Rhee's also teaching the class that, you know, your body is vulnerable. You've got to take care of it. Now, this is a picture of Elvis. I think I noted who was in this picture. Let me see if I can find it. Well, I forgot to put that in the notes. It's another individual. I'll find his name and we'll introduce him properly at some point in the future, but this isn't the same day, obviously. This is a different karate demonstration. It looks like Elvis is doing this for an audience because they're striking poses. They're not sparring necessarily. Elvis looks pretty happy in this picture. I believe this has to be sometime in the 1970s. I'm guessing prior to 1974. I believe this outfit is a Kenpo karate outfit, and that this is part of one of Ed Parker's classes, but not sure. I just thought it was a cool picture, and I'd throw it out here as we're moving through some of these so that we get a little bit of an idea of Elvis overall as a martial artist, and then we can fit these in as we learn more and more. But now we're back to that same day, and we can see Elvis, and this is a really fun picture. And Gunn says that it's a good message from Kang Rhee about taking care of the body. It's important. And in this picture, we know the fun story that Elvis demonstrated a karate kick this day, and he ripped his pants. And then he admitted to the audience, the other students, and Kang Rhee, that he did not wear underwear. He's not wearing underwear this day. And then he says to Kang Rhee, "What do I do now?" Well, this is basically what he did now. He continued to put on the performance, but he was not able to do any more kick demonstrations. But if you look very carefully at this picture, you can see that his pants are ripped. He's got a leg slightly bent forward and barely hidden by the red and black belt that he's wearing, which is a black belt that's covered with a red fabric for show, but also to indicate that he's a master. And that under Kang Rhee, he can also teach and move students up in rank. And on the bottom of his black belt, the ends are still black, and they have a lot of Japanese characters, and those tell information about Elvis as a karate individual and as himself. But here you can see right where the pants are ripped. And Linda says she can see skin. And I bet this is some Elvis skin you've never seen before, Linda. In all the pictures you've ever seen of Elvis, I'm going to bet you've never seen this patch of skin. Maybe in some of his movies where he was doing some swimming stuff and wearing some trunks. Maybe, but I think it depends on how short those trunks were, right? Now, whoever shot this picture moved to the other side, so we can't see that portion of Elvis's pants anymore. But Linda does agree that, oh yes, it is skin that she's never seen. That's probably what I should have named this episode, huh? To pull in more people. Elvis skin you've never seen. But in this picture, I want to point out the flared pants that he's wearing on this uniform. And that they're not just flared, like they got this special cut that accentuates the flare. It has little ties so that you could tie the pants tighter so that they would not flare. It's very fancy for a karate uniform. And I'm thinking that has to be a touch that Master Rhee added. Now maybe it was Elvis, but kind of feels like Master Rhee. Now in this picture, you can see Master Rhee, and in between Master Rhee and Elvis, there is a gentleman with somewhat of a balding forehead. That's Wayne Carman. He doesn't have his glasses on here, but that's Wayne Carman. Hi, Marion. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate seeing you here. You just missed the Elvis Presley skin. But I'm going to back up just so you can see it. In this picture, if you look very carefully, you can see where Elvis's pants are ripped. Now in this picture, same day, Elvis is demonstrating his strength by pressing against Red's outstretched hand and moving Red, as well as another I think it's Dave Hebler standing behind Red. Elvis is pushing both of them backwards with his throat. And you can see this incredible 70s outfit that Red is wearing. I don't think I could have ever put those pants on or that shirt. I personally feel that they're hideous, but they are so 70s. And a lot of people wore clothes that were just like this. And I think it's probably the height of fashion at this moment. And that's why Red is wearing these clothes. But he's still just in regular street clothes. He might even be wearing his shoes, although I think he might be in socks. So he's like a man on the street that's attacked Elvis, which is a very real world kind of practice and demonstration. Because this is what everyone in the dojo is practicing for. No one's going to meet up with a bad guy inside the dojo. They're going to have one of these experiences that they're training for, that they're preparing for, so that they can protect themselves and others. That's going to happen in a real world situation with a man who's probably dressed something like what Red is at this moment. And Linda says she's sorry, but Red's outfit is very ugly. I absolutely agree. But do you think it was the height of fashion at the time, Linda? Do you think that people looked at an outfit like this and thought, wow, that is fabulous? And Linda says that the pants and the shirt don't match. I don't think they do either. But again, do you think that in the 70s people felt like this did match? Like, was this not matching a matching thing that you wanted to have happen? Like, I grew up, my real growing up memories are from the 80s. But I was born in the 70s, so I remember portions of the 70s. But a lot of my 70s memories are memories in the 80s of aged 70s stuff, like hand-me-down clothes or furniture that was now moving into its second decade and probably in the basement or the family room instead of being in the living room. Things like that. Like, I remember 70s televisions, but those would have been like in a basement or a rec room, and the TV in the living room would have been newer. But that's how my memories of the 70s work. And Gunn says that it didn't seem comfortable, Red's outfit. And I would agree because his pants don't look like they fit right. And Gunn says it looks like his pants are soon going to be ripped. Right. They look very tight and just uncut, but they have a very polyester feel to them, at least in the picture. And I think polyester was like a brand new material in the 70s. Maybe it came out in the 60s, but it became affordable in the 70s. And like people wanted everything to be made out of polyester for a while. And Marion says she remembers people wearing clothes like this even in the 1980s. But Marion, do you think they bought those clothes in the 80s or did they buy them in the 70s? And Linda remembers people wearing clothes like this, but not these particular prints. Because these prints are, in my opinion, not speaking for Linda, although I think she's already stated this, but in my opinion, these prints are awful. But they are a wonderful window into the 1970s. Now, this is a picture of a completely different day, but again, connected to karate. And I wanted this one in here because it shows that this statement that Elvis just made, or that Joe made about Elvis and what he said, that the most important things in his life to him are, family, music, and karate. And this is a picture of karate and family together. So at this point in time, I believe Elvis was very happy with Linda Thompson. I think this is probably like 1972 or 1973. Elvis looks slightly heavy in this picture. His face is puffed. So I don't know if he's in a cycle of weight where we've seen him in Clam Bake. You know, if you're following the other series that I'm doing about Circle G, and we're currently looking at his he arrived at Clam Bake, but he was about 30 pounds overweight at 200 pounds instead of his normal 170. So I don't know if he's heavier than 170 right here, or if maybe he's reacting to a medication that he's on, but he looks a little puffy here. Could be sick. Now, Linda looks fantastic. Although she looks a little chubby cheeked as well. I mean, she doesn't look like she's carrying any weight, but her cheeks look very chubby for Linda. Although I don't think we have a massive number of pictures of her during this time. But she has this wonderful, long, straight hair that was so loved in the 1970s. A lot of young women did their hair exactly like this. And then next to them are Vernon and Dee Presley. And Dee is wearing an outfit that is nearly as revealing as the outfit that Linda is wearing, which makes me feel a little bit like Dee, who is a woman who's probably about twice Linda's age in this picture. She's about 20 years older, I would say. Maybe a little more. She is perhaps competing with Linda. Don't know that for sure. But she's dressed in a similar manner. Vernon is dressed like my grandfather always dressed, who would have been a man in his 40s during this period. But when he was about 10 or 15 years older, which is right about where Vernon is now, he dressed very similar to what Vernon's wearing, which is a polo shirt. It has a pattern on it that is, I would say, very 70s. And Dee, a lot of people don't like Dee Presley, but in this picture, she is a very beautiful woman. And even next to Linda Thompson, who is much, much younger than her, she looks very good next to Linda. So I do have to say that it's apparent the attraction, at least physically, that Vernon saw in Dee, And if we back that up into 1959, 1960, which would have been roughly 15 years prior to this, when Vernon was alone and he met Dee while she was married, you can see why Vernon was probably attracted to her. And Linda says that polyester stretched and didn't wrinkle, and that's why people liked it. And that Marion says that none of the clothes she remembers the people wearing were secondhand, so they bought them new. And Gunn says that polyester is warm. So there were reasons that people liked polyester in comparison to products that were available at the time. That's very interesting. Because when I came later into knowing what fabrics were, right? So I'd always seen polyester as inferior to everything else because I think it was popular in the late 80s to see polyester as inferior and that you wanted to get back to these natural fibers. And there was a lot of mixing of polyester with other stuff. So very interesting. And Gunn says that she does not like at least one of the women in this picture. That we all know who that one is. And Linda agrees she doesn't like her either. And Marion points out that Linda is wearing the Anne Margaret pants from Viva Las Vegas. Well, that's very interesting, Marion. I am not nearly good enough at fashion to pick out anything like that. Very, very interesting. Now, I know that Elvis picked out jewelry for women. He was very involved in picking out jewelry. And I know that he liked the way that certain outfits looked. And he would either approve or disapprove of outfits, but I don't know if he picked outfits out, like he selected them. But that makes you wonder if he had ever said anything to her about the way Anne Margaret looked in those pants, or if she was smart enough to go back and look at the movie and knew that he liked Anne, and so she selected to wear those, or if it's just a complete coincidence and it's just part of Linda's taste. But now that you pointed it out, I have to wonder. And Marion says they're maybe not as tight as what Anne wore. And Linda says that Vernon's outfit is better than Red's. Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely better than Red's. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I personally would like Red's at like 0, maybe a 1. And Vernon's I would put closer to like a 4. None of them are clothes that I would wish to put on. But they are wonderful windows into the time period. Now, we've seen this picture, but not like this. We saw a cutout of the 4 people at the bottom, with Dave Hebler on the right. Although I take that back. The one that we saw, I think, was taken at the same moments, but was a different picture, but it was a cutout of this grouping. But you can see that gotta look up his name again. Gary Ramsey, the man that's between Dave Hebler and Elvis, he has a slightly different expression on his face. And Dave himself appears to be smiling in this picture. I don't think I've ever seen Dave smiling in a picture. It's hard to see because the picture is very, very grainy. But this is a slightly different moment. So perhaps in the previous picture, Dave and Gary were not aware the picture was about to be taken or was being taken. And maybe those were looks of, are you going to take the picture? Are we taking it? This is the actual picture. I don't know. But I have the names of everybody in the picture. So we're going to go ahead and enter those into the archive. I'm going to read them out. And we're going to start in the front row, on the bottom, and we're going to start over on the left, next to Master Rhee. That's Wayne Carman. Okay, and then we have Master Rhee, and then we have Elvis, and then we have Gary Ramsey, and then we have Dave Hebler. But now we have all of the previously unknown people at the back, other people that trained with Elvis for black belts. And we're going to start over on the left. The gentleman with the glasses and the mustache. That's Kenny Bland. And next to him is a younger gentleman, I would say late teens, maybe early 20s. And this is Rich Dietrich. And the man next to him, wearing square lenses, glasses with square lenses, that's Bill Bellican. And next to Bill, there's a woman. She's shorter than all of the other people at the back. She's wearing a gray G instead of a white G. She too is a black belt. She's got some black framed glasses that somewhat remind me of the baseball announcer Harry Carey's glasses, who Harry Carey would have been a popular individual at this time. Although I'm not sure his glasses were ever popular. But she's blonde, and her name is Frances McAnally. Frances McAnally. And next to her, I think he's got red hair, curly red hair. It's hard to tell because of the picture, but tall gentleman, his name, Frank Tarver. And next to Frank, and these are the only two gentlemen in the whole picture wearing completely black G's. Although they do have red markings wrapped around their shoulder, around their biceps. But this final gentleman is Robert Wiles. It's Robert Wiles. So I don't recognize any of those names myself. I don't recognize them from other Elvis stories, but here they are. They're witnesses to these events. They're there in the room. They met Elvis in person. Not like from the stage in person. Like right there. Possibly traded blows with Elvis. So it's kind of nice to know their names. And in this picture, we might be able to match up the two gentlemen on the far left with a previous picture. Not exactly sure who it is. But we can see Wade Carman, Elvis, and Master Rhee, and they're meditating in this picture. This is part of karate. This is the non-physical portion of karate. But they're kneeling on the ground and they're meditating. And Gunn says that in the previous picture, she believes Master Rhee was smiling a little more. He's definitely got a grin on his face. And that Hebler was not. Hebler's got this mustache, so I can't tell if he's smiling or if he's not, but he doesn't have, to me, the grimace that he had on his face from the previous picture. Which might be as close as he gets to smiling. I don't know. But he doesn't appear as angry as in the previous picture. That might be a better way for me to phrase it. And here's another picture of Elvis. And now we've arrived at what Gunn was asking about. We've only got a few minutes left, so I've got to get this in here for us. This is the 7th degree black belt. At least I believe it is. You can see that he's got a certificate in his hand. And it looks to me like Kang Rhee is presenting this to Elvis, and Elvis is very happy. I mean, I don't believe this is Elvis presenting a certificate to Master Rhee. So I believe this is the 7th degree black belt. And now look at the certificate. You can't really see any of the writing, but you can get an idea of what it looks like, the way it appears on the page. I want you to remember that. And Marion says that meditating with ripped pants, that's not easy. I would agree, Marion. It is not easy to meditate with ripped pants. And this is a picture, I think that was probably just before the last picture we saw. I think this is Master Rhee showing the certificate to everyone in the class. Elvis is looking on. It's not in his hand yet. It hasn't actually been presented to him. Maybe he's not aware it's going to be presented during this ceremony. I don't know. But his eyes are on the certificate. His eyes are on it. He's looking at that certificate with intensity. And in this picture, he has the certificate. It's in his hand. He's gazing at it with adoration. This is something he's wanted and he's achieved. And maybe it's not the certificate I think it is, but it's something that he has, that he desires, and now he has it. And it means something. It's from Master Rhee. It's Master Rhee acknowledging something about Elvis, which I think is his mastery of the 7th degree black belt. In this, I believe, is a copy of what Elvis is holding. This is the 7th degree black belt certificate. Presented to Tiger Elvis A. Presley, disciple of these disciplines, on September 9th, 1974. That's how I've dated the day. September 9th, 1974. It's right here on the certificate. And just below that, it's signed Kang Rhee. Grade or degree, 7th degree. Black belt. Memphis, Tennessee, USA. So this is the certificate. This is the 7th degree black belt. Now let me tell you something that Master Rhee said about the 7th degree. He was interviewed years after Elvis passed away, and he was asked, Master Rhee, why are you a 7th degree black belt? So Master Rhee himself is not an 8th degree black belt. Elvis will earn 8th degree, but Master Rhee is not an 8th degree black belt. He is a 7th degree black belt. So the interviewer asked, why are you 7th degree? He's asking, why are you not an 8th degree black belt? How can you be a master that's of this quality and not be 8th degree? Well, Kang Rhee answers, that is the most spiritual number. Everybody has different numbers and our favorite numbers. But my case is the 7th, be a spiritual number. And I'd like to become a spiritual August. I don't want to go higher, like an 8th or 9th or 10th, because I'm still young. I'm continuously improving my techniques. So what Master Rhee says is that as a 7th degree black belt, and his language, his English is not his first language. So he does have some difficulty expressing himself grammatically within the language. But what he's expressing is that the 7th degree is a degree where you are spiritually seeking for perfection. You've reached a point where you are doing everything the right way, but you're not quite perfect. And a lot of that is within your spirit. You have to align your spirit properly. You have to continue to improve yourself in this state. And when you have finally improved yourself, you graduate to the 8th degree. But you will never improve during the 8th degree because you are at the top. And that is a state of eternity, of you will eternally be this 8th degree black belt. In other words, you will be perfection. And Master Rhee is a humble man. And he does not see himself as perfected. And he does not believe in the amount of time that he has spent on the earth. He is able to be perfected. So he has chosen. Others will grant him the 8th degree. He could take it if he wants it. But he has chosen to remain 7th degree because he believes this is where his journey is at. That the journey's not over. And that it's not going to be over until he decides it's over to move on to the 8th. But right now he judges himself. He judges himself not worthy of that. Others would judge him worthy. But he himself says, no, I am a 7th degree. And that is what Elvis has now attained. And Marion is asking if the birds are peacocks. I believe so, yes. Which is another tie-in to Graceland, where there have always been peacocks. Elvis owned peacocks. But later in the 70s, they put those peacock windows into the living room as it moves into the music room. Very famous. Everybody knows those peacocks. Well, here's another connection to them. And Gunn says that Master Rhee is a wise man, and she really likes him the more and more she hears about him. Well, Gunn, stay tuned to my posts. Be sure you're going out there and looking at my posts, because Master Rhee is soon going to speak to you directly from those posts. You'll be able to see and hear him, because there'll be links to videos that he's in. But we've reached our hour and I've gone over, so I've got to let everybody go for today. But we're going to end it with a song, like we always do. And this one's going to be He Gave Away His Heart. You all keep on taking care of business.
Midnight lights, rhinestone fire, Arabian suit, burning with desire. He hit the stage like thunder rolls. Vegas shook and the story unfolds. Charlie's birthday, crowd went wild. He cracked a joke and sang with style. But just before he sang Hurt So Deep, he stopped the show and made us weep. He gave away his heart, not just a song, diamonds and gold, where the blackened hair, the man stepped near. Elvis smiled, the crowd could hear. Thanks to you, we raised the light. 17,000 hearts took flight. Then back behind the velvet door, he gave away a little more. Music ring, a boxcar shine, a suit that held his sacred time. He gave away his heart, not just a song, diamonds and gold, where the love belongs. Rings and shades from the man backstage. He healed the broken, he lit the flame. Oh, he gave away his heart, and I saw it all that night. He didn't need applause to know his worth. He gave away his soul in Vegas mirth. Not just a king, but something more. A man who knew what hearts were for. Gave away his heart, not just a soul. Pieces of love where the brave belong. Ritual gifts from the man backstage. He saved the hurting, he the lame. Oh, he gave away his heart, and I'll never be the same. I was there, I saw the rings, I saw the light. Gave away his heart, and it burned so bright.